Underwater search efforts for human remains continue. The search area stretches 4 miles from Puamana Beach Park to Waihekuli Wayside Park.
People who were forced over the seawall into the water. Many of them spent many hours in the water. We do know that there were some casualties that evening, and there's potential that we may not have retrieved everyone that they could have sunk.
You see, this is the type of stuff they don't want us talking about. They don't want us asking questions about this. Don't get me wrong. They will fleetingly mention it on the news really quick while hoping that no one's watching. But luckily, you know, we're gathering the receipts here. But this is a discussion that they don't really want to have. They want you focused on everything else. But like I reported to you all the other day, it's getting to a point where they can't cover everything up. Hundreds of bodies have washed ashore on various beaches across Hawaii. People in neighboring islands, you know, they're going to the beach and they're seeing just dozens of bodies washed ashore. That's how bad it is. And the reality of this situation, folks, is that, yeah, we know hundreds upon hundreds of people died in this fire, but from the looks of it, hundreds of them died in the ocean as well. And they didn't have to. They could have escaped, but they were stopped. But like I said, we have these bodies washing ashore, and silently, now they have divers diving down looking for bodies because they're afraid that there are just tons of bodies floating around the ocean. I'm sorry for being so graphic, but I mean, I think we have to be blunt when talking about this stuff because that's the reality. We now have divers out here that are diving looking for bodies, and you don't see much discussion about that. But you want to know what else I find weird? And listen, just hear me out. Just hear me out. We know that the mainstream media, they're not being honest about the numbers that they're reporting. Okay? They say, you know, there's 100 casualties, around 100. The people on the island are saying that it may be around 2,000. I've heard as high as 3,000. I don't think it's that many people, but it's in the thousands. We know that over 1,000 people are missing as we speak, maybe even more. But officially, there should be roughly a little over 1,000 people missing. But here is what I find so odd. We have over 1,000 people missing. Where are all the people looking for them? Where are all the missing person flyers? Where's the missing person photos? Where's the social media posts with people looking for their families? Mind you, a lot of these casualties, a lot of these people who are missing are kids. Where's all the parents that are looking for their kids? As someone that covers missing persons cases pretty often, as someone that, you know, I'm kind of in the mix in the community, so I come across a lot of missing persons flyers and posters and cases. And I gotta say, after looking into this story for a couple of weeks now, and I've looked into this story deeper than, you know, just your average person, I don't see any missing persons posters. I don't see anyone really on social media that's looking for anyone. It's kind of odd. And I'm not saying there's anything to it because, of course, I mean, in this situation, it's not like people just vanished per se because we have this fire. And I assume that if you're reported missing, that it's assumed that you probably perished in the fire, right? So I get that. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't fly over my head. I'm just thinking that if we have hundreds upon hundreds of people missing, hundreds of kids missing, that there would be more of a push. You would hear more of an uproar, more of a stir. You would see some posters. Even if you think as a parent that your kid may have died in the fire, you probably would still want to put the flyer out there because you never know. It was complete chaos. I'm sure a lot of people got displaced and Lord knows what. Maybe someone was floating on a raft and floated to a whole other island and they can't find their family. You never know. It's a wild situation. A really wild situation. So I don't know. I just find it kind of weird because, you know, we have over 1,000 people missing and I haven't seen any flyers. And it's not like these people have been identified or their bodies have been identified. They haven't really identified many of the people who perished in these flames. And they've only announced, you know, like 100-something deaths. So there's still hundreds upon hundreds of people who, I don't know if their remains have been found or not. They haven't reported that they have been. So it's really strange. It's really strange. But I want to go ahead and roll this clip really quick and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
To me. And this is what I've been told. The number's going to be way higher. All of those guys said that reluctantly to me. They didn't want to put numbers on it. They saw many, many bodies. Now, I want you to know that as well when I tell you this. There were a lot of children that were sent home from school that day. We need to find out what happened to all those kids. I will say, in all of my days over there this past week, having talked to a lot of people, you don't hear people saying, I still can't find this person or I still can't find that person. There's not a great outcry of a missing child or a missing cousin. That does exist, but I'm just telling you, if the numbers are in the 500 to 1,000, I would have thought I would have heard that more. So that does leave me with one last potentiality, which is entire families are gone. Entire groups of people who could not escape and no one left to say, where is my cousin, where is my uncle, where is my child? I do think, and I am concerned, it's going to be a story that gets worse before it ever looks better.
It's tragic.
I'm just glad I'm not the only one asking this question. You know, when you're covering a story like this, all the updates come so rapidly, and you get so caught up in the story that there are, you know, obvious questions that should be asked, but you forget. You don't even question certain things because you're already digging and questioning other things. But this was a very obvious question, and it wasn't something that really came to my mind until a couple of days ago. Once I took a step back and really just started thinking, wasn't making videos, and I was just like, you know, this is really odd. But mind you, I'm someone that's online. I'm talking to locals online. I'm gathering whatever information I can, and I really haven't been able to find anything on these missing people. The guy that you just saw on the news, he was actually in the area. He didn't see any flyers. He was talking to locals in the area. He didn't find anyone that was looking for anyone. So that's really strange. But to be clear, folks, I'm not trying to say that there's a big conspiracy here. You know, it's very likely that there are people spreading flyers. There are people spreading the word. It's very likely that there is social media posts. I'm sure there are people on the ground out there looking for their loved ones, but we're not seeing it. Why? Probably because they don't want to let us see it. Maybe they're limiting the reach, shadow banning these people. I don't know what may be going on, but just because we don't see it doesn't mean that it's not happening. And if I learn anything from these folks, they know how to cover some stuff up. And right now, they don't want this information getting out there. They're providing false numbers. They're not even being realistic about the numbers that they're reporting. They're trying to do whatever they can to cover their own behinds and to cover up the truth. So just because we don't see the flyers and we don't see people searching for their loved ones doesn't mean that it's not happening. But it does mean that obviously they don't want to see in it. I mean, I go on social media every day. I see people twerking and smashing grabs all day long. I don't see anything about missing people in Hawaii where over 1,000 people are missing from this fire. But it is what it is. It's just something that's kind of been resting on the top of my brain over the past couple of days, and I wanted to talk about it really quickly. But I got my fingers crossed that these people get help. the help still hasn't really arrived. They're still blocking these people from getting help. It's a devastating situation that isn't going to go away anytime soon. Unfortunately, it's only going to get worse as more and more information pours out, information that they are stopping. They are actively trying to stop this information from getting out. And, no wonder why we had the governor of Hawaii basically attacking YouTubers and social media people, saying that you shouldn't believe the stuff that you see on social media. You should only believe the government. Don't believe anyone else. Don't believe the people whose house burned down in the fire. Don't believe that woman whose kid died in the fire. Believe me, the governor, who's here for you to tell you the truth and to do everything right because, we care about you. It's laughable. It's laughable. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.